And we are live at last with Nansen Office Hours, episode number 41. As Alexander in the chat just said, dream team finally together.
Good to meet you in person.
Good to meet you in person, yeah. We met for the first time on, I guess the camera's over here. We met for the first time on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. Been hanging out a bit since then.
We also need to project our voices here.
So voice goes here. We've got a new setup here in New York City. And the eyes go there. The voice goes there.
Let us know that you can hear us, please, because we're not 100% confident. So give us an audio check and a video check, please. Here.
Yeah. Let's see if people can actually hear us.
Yeah.
Okay, we're online at least.
Yeah.
So we've been going to bodegas, having breakfast, coffee. I spilled some coffee on my shirt this morning, which was great. I'm at the mainnet conference. I was doing a panel yesterday, and Daniel has been cruising around at the post-conference events.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun. A lot of interesting people. Although NYC is my city, so I already knew a bunch of people here.
Home turf.
Yeah.
It's pretty different from Singapore. Very stimulating. Lots of impressions.
Yeah, I can imagine Singapore is pretty stimulating normally, but NYC just takes it to a whole nother level.
True. We have this nice backdrop, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you know any of these buildings in the background?
Not the names of them.
Okay.
But yeah, this one looks pretty cool right there. Let us not waste any time and let's get right into the alpha leaks of this session.
Okay.
If we have some.
Do we have any alpha leaks?
Well, let's find some.
Yeah, I guess we could start diving into NFT paradise, as we often do. So
let me get you on the screen.
Let's see if we can get me on the screen. Boom, there we go. All right. So you see the Nansen homepage here, right? Which most of you are probably familiar with. And I'm going to go to NFT paradise up here to the right. By the way, meeting a lot of people at the mainnet conference, and most people highlight the NFT features, actually. Even some of the guys who work for the kind of institutional players in the crypto space, many of them are basically personal users of Nansen, and they all love the NFT features, which is pretty cool. But we go to the market overview in NFT paradise, and what do we see? We see a few different things here. Art blocks on top, the two different smart contracts they have, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, feels like a lot of OG projects. And maybe we didn't look at this Bluechip index yet.
I don't think we have, no.
Okay.
And it definitely wasn't split in between the two tabs last time.
Yeah, so this is a new tab, which we can show. And it's pretty cool because it aggregates what we consider blue chip projects in the NFT space. And we have 20 different NFT collections that we pooled together. And we can look at the combined market cap of these collections. And we can also look at trading volume. We kind of felt that there has been like a great overview of how the NFT markets are doing at a high level. And I think this gives an indication of, the current interest in NFT projects and how the NFT space is evolving over time. So you can see the market cap and volume over here, but you can also see broken down volume on some of the bigger projects within the index. So you see an Art Blocks collection there, which had a huge spike on September 21st. You can see CryptoPunks being relatively active on several days. Another Art Blocks smart contract there, and then Bored Apes as well, generally quite active. And then the other category is basically everything else in the index. You can also see the top 5 gains and top 5 losses in terms of the average price. And you can see the breakdown of the index down here. And so you see CryptoPunks is the most kind of the biggest NFT collection in this index. You see Bored Apes Yacht Club is the second one. You see Art Blocks, VFriends, Meebits, and so on and so forth. And I actually have to go to page 2 on my tiny screen to find Pudgy Penguins within the index.
But it's there.
And they did not get any special treatment. They've been included based on the quantitative metrics that our product manager, Paul, has decided. Paul has recently stepped up from research analyst to product manager for the NFT team at Nansen. So shout out to Paul, who's done an amazing job shipping NFT features for Nansen. But yeah, so that's the Bluechip index. Definitely worth checking that out. Every 3 months, we're going to be including new NFT collections. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to fall out of the index and who's going to be included.
It'll always be 20? Is that it?
That's the thinking,
Okay.
yeah. We want to have 20 collections in there. But we might update it over time.
Yeah.
Thinking is we do 20 for now. Okay, so moving back to the market overview. I think there were a few collections here that were highlighted by our analysts. There was one that Pranksy bought up a few of. There's the Cupcat NFT, which we could perhaps drill down into. But before we do that, there's another thing I want to mention, because now we actually have even more real-time data on NFT collections. So basically now, when you see a new smart contract being deployed, a new ERC 721 smart contract, it will show up here in real time. We used to have a little bit of a lag before, but now it's basically going to be real time. So the most recent one that we found here is Ripped Birds. I have no idea what that is. It might be a scam, like who knows. That was deployed on the mainnet 57 minutes ago.
What was changed in order to get the faster listings?
You ask a very good question. And I don't exactly know all the details. But basically, the whole backend has been refactored.
Okay.
So the nice thing about setting up a dedicated NFT team is that they actually have their own like research engineers now. And so it used to be some of the other teams having to help out with the backend of these different dashboards. But now we have staffed the NFT team properly. And Elizabeth, I think, has done a heroic job of re-engineering the backend. Elizabeth is one of our research engineers who's working in the NFT team. So yeah, it's basically been her updating the backend effectively of it.
Before we dive deeper into NFTs here, would you mind explaining the difference between research analyst, research engineer, and like these different roles that we hire for?
Yeah, so, I kind of, I'm used to the roles of like data scientist and data engineer. I worked in data science myself for more than 10 years. And I think research engineer and research analyst are basically just kind of a newer, cooler version of these two titles. So research engineer to me is very similar to data engineer. So someone who writes code, someone who makes data pipelines, basically, works end to end on ingesting data, processing it, transforming it, and then kind of getting value out of it. So I would say research engineer is kind of like a unicorn role where you do almost a bit of data science and a bit of data engineering. And research analyst is a bit more broad in terms of what kind of output you create. So some research analysts at Nansen focus on producing content, like writing pieces about, say, the NFT market, or digging into liquidity providers on SushiSwap or things like that. But other research analysts will create dashboards as well. So you can sort of think of this as research engineers are typically kind of closer to the code and sort of raw data. And then research analysts are focused more on creating something that is user-facing. That's like how I would draw the distinction. And we have research engineers and research analysts in many different teams at Nansen. So it's not like we have all the research engineers in one research engineering team. We have research engineers in the NFT team, in the core analytics team. We're gonna have one in the institutional team, and also in the alpha team where we have a lot of research analysts. So yeah, that's roughly how I would think about it.
And we're hiring more of both.
That's right.
At
Yeah.
Careers. What is it?
So go to nansen.ai/careers, nansen.ai/careers, and you can see open positions here. And so you find research engineers in the attribution team, you will find a research engineer in the research desk team. And you also see data engineer and platform team and so on. So even if you don't find something here that is exactly, what you want to do, you can always shoot an email to us, because we are hiring pretty much across the board, and we're trying to push out job descriptions as fast as we can. We're aiming to hit 60 people by the end of this year, but I expect us to, cross, say, 100 people next year. So the idea is to hire very aggressively, and we're always keen to speak with talent who might, provide value to Nansen.
And if any of these roles are calling your name and you see either of us at around New York, feel free to step up and say hi.
Definitely do that.
All right, let's dive into some NFT alpha. So if this is your first time watching Nansen Office Hours, just some context, this is just an hour-long conversation between Alex and I where we shoot the shit and dig into our dashboards. Anything we might find here is not necessarily financial advice. We're not making any recommendations on buying any of these projects. Sometimes we might do it, but it is not an endorsement. We're just trying to identify some things that are happening on chain. If you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll try and get to it. And other than that, just have fun. So let's dive in.
Cool. All right. So there are a few projects here that were highlighted by our research analysts on the side. They send us some notes before these office hours, so we have interesting things to look at. I think there was one here, Crypto Hobos, which had some purchasing going on from Pranksy, I think. So we can drill down on this one to just get an understanding of what it looks like when you see a new NFT collection being dropped. And so now I just click through on Crypto Hobos, and I can scroll down and I can see the individual transactions that took place over the last few days. And so this smart contract was deployed 5 days ago, but it looks like the actual minting only happened 2 days ago. You see, the volume here and the price. And you can also see the individual transactions that were taking place. And lo and behold, some of the top transactions here are actually Pranksy buying some of these NFTs for a pretty high price, around 6 ETH, one for 5.5 and one for 6 ETH. And perhaps, some of these early ones as well were Pranksy. So if you go to breakdown, you can see who are the top accumulators or purchasers of this NFT. And so if I sort by the change in the last day, I can see that Pranksy is actually the one who's been scooping up the most. This is a change for 1 day. And you can also see how many NFTs they hold in total. So in terms of top holders, by far, Pranksy is the biggest, almost 500 NFTs. It looks like he got 510 and he's sent out 23 of them. You could drill down on him as well and figure out what they've been doing with these specific NFTs. And so looks like he's been sending a few of them out. So it's not necessarily selling Crypto Hobos, but sending it to other addresses. Not sure why.
Can we pull these up and see what they look like?
Can. Let's see. What's the best way to do that? So if we go here, oh wait, no, I went back. Oh, I can go to OpenSea here. Let's see. Okay. Manny Mescalero. So this is one of them. We can click through on OpenSea.
What's the description? The most insane NFT collection ever. 8,000 NFTs are made from a combination of more than 200 traits, hand-drawn in a very specific technique invented by artist Valyamed Popov. Interesting.
Yeah. So
they actually look pretty
They
cool.
look very different from other PFPs, which I think is cool. It's nice to see a project that is not just another animal.
There was a Bangs one. Like for, what is it, Elmo? Scroll up one more. There, on the left.
This one?
Yeah, you know how Elmo has on Twitter, has the bangs?
Oh, yeah.
Or the bowl cut, rather. Sorry, not the bangs, the bowl cut.
You mean the Pangu bowl cut.
Yes, exactly.
So this is the bowl cut of Crypto Hobos. Huh. Okay.
What are some of the traits there? Maybe we can try and like backtrack what might be rare and try and understand Pranksy's purchases.
Yeah, let's do it. So body, eyes, head, matching set, mouth, nose, sign, totem, zodiac. What's zodiac? That's curious. Huh. Okay.
Okay, it looks like no specifically rare traits there. Typically what I would do is I would just open up all these different tabs and see if there's any like very rare ones. So totem is like, these are probably like one of ones if they've got a totem.
That's our guy that we were
Oh, yes, exactly. Wow, that
Jericho.
was lucky.
So these ones presumably will be quite pricey.
Well, at least 6 ETH, it seems like.
Well, yeah. We could actually go back and look at the big purchase that was made. So the 6 ETH one, for example, you can just click on that and you get the ID. And if you want, so this one was just minted and then it was bought for 6 ETH. Degen PhD.eth sold it to Pranksy.
GG.
And the Great Double Worm. This one, Pranksy went pretty big on.
Relative to the collection.
Yes. Yes.
352 views. Yes, quite a bit.
That's a lot. Pretty cool. And the nice thing is, our mission at Nansen is to surface the signal, right? And like we kind of went straight into Crypto Hobos, scroll down, and you immediately see, well, this one is pretty interesting. And right away you can spot one of the more interesting pieces in the collection. What about the other one? Let's look at that. 812. This one had an intermediary buyer for 1 ETH right afterwards, and then they flipped it. Oscar Waterburns, the first. It's pretty cool.
So what can you open the properties there?
Can properties. Oh, so it's a totem. So one of one trade. Nice.
I quite like these.
Yeah, these are pretty cool actually. None of us own any crypto hobos.
Yeah.
Full disclosure. We're just checking this stuff out. Okay. So let's go back up again to NFT Paradise.
Hold on, let's see if there's any questions here first.
Yeah. Hopefully people can hear us.
SB says, can we say anything about kind of people Pranksy is sending to? Are they buying more on the back of it? That's a good question.
Yeah, we can look at that.
Yeah,
let's
check.
Okay, so I'm going to go back into Crypto Hobos and just going to go to the breakdown tab again, find Pranksy and drill down. So this is how you would navigate around in Nansen. Typically, you can click through and drill down on pretty much anything you see. So when we scroll down, we can look at Crypto Hobos. So he's sending to this rare NFT collector. I'm just going to click through on some of these guys. And then these two look like they're the same. So I'm going to click through on that one as well. Yeah, it looks like these are different ones. Maybe we can just start by looking at this one first and see if they are. So this is where they received one. I don't see them buying anything after that.
But they had received one before that from AI222.
Oh, they bought one before. That's right.
Oh, they sold one.
Oh, they sold one. Yeah, you're right. They sold one to AI222.eth. Huh. And then they received one. Okay. Then what about the other one here? Received 2 Crypto Hobos from Pranksy.
And then sold them both.
And then sold the same ones?
Let's find out. Yeah, the same ones.
The same ones. Yeah, and they sold them for like pretty low price.
That's pretty...
that's weird.
Not exciting.
Yeah, that's strange. So...
Great question in the chat.
Yeah. So you can dig into this stuff if you want. The way I would do this, I mean, it would be kind of nice if we had like a wallet profiler for token for NFTs, so you could like filter out only the Crypto Hobos one. Let me see if are these showing up? No. Okay, good. I'm getting some notifications in my Chrome, but thankfully they're not showing up on the stream. So you can go through the wallet profiler for NFTs effectively, and you can just see what people are buying or what they're doing with these different tokens.
You can also filter, right?
You can. That's a very, very good point. Yeah, actually, that's how you should do it. You're right. I'm not super used to these filters yet, but NFT collection, I guess just hobos should be enough. And now we filtered out, I guess, only the hobos. Yeah. Clever. Oh, maybe we can also do only the sends, right? Let's see. Type send. Boom. Sweet. These filters are actually pretty useful.
That is pretty cool.
We've made it to the point at Nansen where we can't even keep up with like the new features that are being shipped, which is very nice. And it's kind of enjoyable for us to discover how useful some of these things are.
Yeah.
So we have a great product team shipping stuff all the time.
These office hours will soon become us just discovering the new feature.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, you can see who Pranksy has been sending crypto hobos to by just filtering on the table. Yeah, sweet. That's
Cool.
pretty nice.
Then let's see what else in the chat here. Someone says, TBH, the hobos are too ugly for me. Fair enough, different strokes for different folks. Pavel says he bought the floor and sent for people for the price he bought because there was some kind of floor manipulation from bots. Interesting.
Okay.
Then Vance asks, what do you think about the Cupcats? I saw people having split feeling about this. Some early adopters are selling. Do you think there's another wave of pumping?
Okay. So we can look at the data perhaps for Cupcats. Our analysts have been giving us some notes on Cupcats as well because the contract was deployed 4 days ago, so it's a pretty fresh project. And also our beloved Mev collector has been tweeting about Cupcats as well. So yeah, maybe we should just dive into Cupcats. So let me just clean up my tabs a bit here. I'm just going to close these guys and then go back to NFT Paradise.
SB asks, he doesn't have the filter button. Has that been rolled out yet?
Oh, I thought everyone should have the filter button. It will be rolled out to everyone very soon. Well, if it hasn't been, I thought it had been rolled out to everyone.
So John is in the chat here. Maybe John can answer that.
Yeah. So if John, who might be on the train right now to come and see us, filters are VIP subs. Okay. Yeah. Feels like filters should be maybe available for everyone. Okay, but we'll speak to John. We'll try to convince John. No.
TBD. All right, let's dive in on Cupcats.
Okay. Cool. Cupcats. Let's look at this. So 4 days ago, this smart contract was deployed. You can see the activity here when it started minting. And you can also see the individual transactions. Again, this is kind of like, I like to do this because, again, you can surface, whoa, our friend, the whale. Bought one for 69 ETH.
That's pretty
ballsy.
Absurd.
That's ballsy. And they bought one for 20. And they bought one for 11.
Do they collect?
Let's find out.
Yeah, I wasn't aware they were into the NFT game at all.
So let's look at this one. What did they actually buy? I'm curious on the 4122. Okay. Bought it for 69 ETH. And looks rare.
Cath Metal Band. Masterless Soul.
This looks rare.
Bug Out.
The item profile, I just want to see. Okay, so someone minted it. And then I guess sent it to this rare NFT collector. And then a certain whale picked it up for 69 ETH.
That's crazy. But so, okay, let's check their wallet though to see what else they've been collecting.
All right, let's do it. Cupcat NFT 31. So they went really big on Cupcat NFTs.
But that's like the first thing they've bought.
Pretty much. And it looks like they haven't sold any Cupcat NFTs.
Can we see their OpenSea profile?
Can. So I'm just going to copy this.
Or you can just go to the tab where it's Cupcat 4122.
This one?
Yeah, and then their wallet.
Yeah, I guess owned by this one here, unnamed.
I was just wondering if they had
6942
fully doxed themselves.
Yeah, this is a certain seaborne mammal, large one that you may find around crypto Twitter. And yeah, they've gone really big on Cupcats. I want to see how big though, like in terms of the collection. So if I got a breakdown again on the NFT God mode, I want to see if they're actually among the very largest holders. And indeed, they are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th largest Cupcat holder. You also see there's a lot of interesting addresses here actually. Wifey Whale, our friend, who was one of the addresses that went really big on Wi-Fi back in the day, farming Wi-Fi big time, who also is very big on certain NFT collections. We can have a look at their wallet.
Like Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah.
I wonder if he would, or she, would dox themselves.
I have communicated with the Wi-Fi Whale, and the Wi-Fi Whale prefers that we keep the Wi-Fi Whale tag.
Okay.
Although it is, I think through their NFT holdings, you can find out who they are. So it's not a secret. So anyone who wants to dig into that could find out if they wanted to through social media profiles and so on. But they're a pretty interesting NFT collector and also a DeFi address. So this is one of the, I think, true smart money addresses where you can just learn tons from looking at what they've been doing. I mean, they made 737 ETH on Bored Apes alone.
So far.
And they're still, I think, holding a lot of Bored Apes. In fact, if I click through here, they have 59 Bored Apes still, and they've realized more than 700 ETH in profit on them. So this is like an all-star wallet.
Yeah,
both for DeFi and for NFTs.
And to be fair, they earned that Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like they were the first big whale to be going heavy into Bored Ape Yacht Club. They were taking major risks when no one else was. That's always an interesting thing when a wallet is willing to take the risk of smashing the ceiling prices.
Yeah.
So like they're setting new all-time records of sale prices. That's like what Vincent van Gogh did for art blocks when he came in and started just buying up everything, but like buying the top tier stuff. And it just really elevates the whole collection.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, this is a great wallet. I'm a fan. Okay, so we got a bit sidetracked there, but if we go back to Cupcat NFTs, clearly there's some big smart money addresses picking this up. So that's one observation. You can look at, is it very concentrated? Like how many addresses actually hold this? Well, more than 2,000 addresses, which is not a huge number actually. It's kind of like loot level, I think. So I don't know if it could be compared to that, in terms of it being like an inner circle kind of NFT project.
I think in terms of measuring kind of concentration risk, another good way of looking at it is this percent holding one NFT only.
Yeah.
So is that 63% of the total holders or of the total?
So this is 63% of all the holders hold exactly one NFT.
Got it.
So if you have 1,000 holders, then 630 are holding exactly one NFT. So we could compare that with something else. Like if you look at, let's say, maybe Bored Apes, and just see how that looks like for Bored Apes. We go to hodlers, then here it's like 74%, which is very high. And this is my opinion is that this is quite a good metric. where you want to see this number just be as high as possible, because if you have a lot of people just owning one NFT, it seems unlikely that they will just dump a lot of NFTs because you only have one, so you're likely just going to hoard it. So it causes a sell side liquidity crisis where no one is basically selling their NFTs.
Yeah. Okay, we've got some questions in the chat here. Except maybe Token Watch, who's a little sassy right now in the chat. So he goes, I love using Nansen, just started with it a few days ago. Is there a feature where Nansen will provide closer to real-time data as opposed to updated every 2 minutes? The data is real-time, but it's on a 4-minute delay to account for any block reorgs. Yeah, any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, for other chains where you have instant block finality, we can actually have real-time data. But with Ethereum, you sometimes get small reorgs. And so we try to account for that by just having a little bit of a delay. The other way we could do it is to have real-time data and then shuffle it or like update the data if there are changes. But we have thought that could be a bit confusing. So those are different ways to handle it. We don't have any specific plans of having literally real-time data for Ethereum specifically, but for other chains where you have instant block finality, we would aim to have real-time. Yeah.
Good question though, Token Watch. Thank you. And then we've got Yotam, who asks, how is volume a good indicator? For example, VFriends is 5% for sale, so naturally volume wouldn't be huge, no? And I think that is that question was originally asked when we were looking at the Bluechip indicator, or the Bluechip index rather.
So the question was around volume?
Yeah, how is volume a good indicator?
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, volume is a good indicator because it shows that people are actually actively trading collections, right? So if you see a price spike, but there's very low volume, that basically could just be an outlier. But if you see a lot of volume and then the market cap going up as well, that seems to be a more healthy market. So volume is kind of tightly linked to liquidity as well, how easy it is to buy and sell these different assets. So I think it is an important indicator, but it's not one that just is directly correlated with price going up or down necessarily.
Yeah, I think one important thing is if you have a lot of a certain NFT and you are looking to get liquidity on it, you do want to know when there is volume coming in. So if we open up something like, I don't know, let's maybe look at Meebits.
Okay, let's go back to NFT Paradise. And yeah, let's see where Meebits actually is. I mean, I could filter for it, I guess. So me, right? It's with 2 E's. Yeah, Meebits. 99 volume.
Yeah,
can you want us to drill down?
Yeah.
Very low volume.
Yeah, very low volume. So if you have kind of bags of Meebits and you were like maybe keeping some of them for the long term, but other ones you wanted to flip because you kind of got caught up in the euphoria back in that major spike end of August, now would be a really difficult time to sell it. So volume is important because when volume comes back, that means there is actual buying. Like the most important thing in these markets is that people are actually still buying.
Yeah.
Like you can't sell if someone's not going to buy. You can't sell into like a pool of liquidity that just doesn't really exist.
Yeah, this is one reason why I almost think of NFTs as like real estate more than cryptocurrencies, because the liquidity situation is just so different from cryptocurrencies, where you have like order books and you have much higher liquidity because you're selling fungible tokens. With non-fungible tokens, it's actually in some cases not trivial to sell an NFT at all if there is no volume, right? If there are no bids and so on. So I think, it's a very good point that the volume indicator is basically showing you the liquidity right now. And in this case, it would probably be quite hard to sell a Meebit fast unless you sacrifice a lot on the price.
But so then I guess this question kind of comes back to, so it was originally asked during the Bluechip segment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind pulling that up again?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I guess the thing is, if Meebits is included in the Bluechip index, is it?
I don't think. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, here.
So if there is really not any volume on it, does it make sense to have it in the Bluechip?
It might actually fall out, right, in the next iteration. But I guess when we did the cutoff, it had enough volume. But volume is one of the things that we consider when we look at what should be included here. So if something basically has a volume that's dropping, there's a chance that it will actually fall out of the index in the next update.
Yeah. I feel like we should make it very clear how this index is calculated, and that if anyone has any feedback on it, they can include it in feedback.nansen.ai.
Yeah, maybe we could have a little info box like at the top that explains like the methodology, or at least a link to a post that describes it. Yeah, it's a good point.
Thank you for the question, Yotam. Next question is from Alexander22. Can you also see/make statistics on NFTs that are staked somewhere? Do you have any examples of ones you're thinking about it? Maybe in terms of staking, I guess it's like including it in a basket. Like
that was the first thing that came to mind for me, like NFTX, for example. I don't know if that would be considered staking. I'm actually not familiar with like NFT staking as such.
I'm not super familiar either. I haven't staked any NFTs.
So I mean, if just to take the NFTX example, you could put an NFT into the NFTX index or basket, and you are still, well, you're actually not the owner of that specific NFT anymore, because you just get some tokens back, and the tokens allow you to pick up an NFT from the basket. But so technically you don't own that individual NFT anymore. But let's see what they are saying here. For example, games where you can stake an NFT and it gives you some staking rewards. Okay. Yeah. Again, like I'm not familiar with any examples like that myself, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist. It's just that we would have to look at that more closely because I'm not familiar with it.
But yeah, Alexander, that is a good question. I think in terms of like new segments that we want to cover, initially we didn't cover NFTs, but then NFTs became a big enough opportunity, and there was enough interest that it made sense for us to cover it. When things like gaming NFTs become a large enough segment based on, I guess, user demand, or if internally when we discuss these things, if we find it's a big enough opportunity, then we definitely will check it out.
Yeah. So what you can do right away is go to feedback.nansen.ai and just put in a suggestion. Yeah. So you go to feedback.nansen.ai and you can put in a feature request here. And this is becoming quite an active board. And so it eventually, I think, will become the main source of input for our product team. In the beginning, we were trying to get it kind of off the ground to get enough activity on this board, but now there's a lot of upvoting going on and stuff like that. So if you put it in here, then it will be on our radar. And one thing you can do is share it with other people who might also want this feature, and so you can upvote it. And the more upvotes you get, the higher we will prioritize it. So yeah, that's what I would suggest doing right away.
Next question from Red Hair. Welcome, Red Hair. Not sure if I already answered the price chart for individual NFTs. Is it possible? Not the entire collection, but just for individual items. We don't have a chart, I don't think. Maybe you can pull up an individual item real quick.
Yeah, we do actually have a chart for that. So
for individual ones?
Yeah, so let's see, I'm trying to think of the best. Here, NFT item profiler. So this one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so when you drill down, let's say now we're looking at this Cupcat NFT, which is owned by this whale, and they bought it for 69 ETH. So you can see the individual item over here, if that's what you mean. And that's going to show how the pricing has evolved for that specific item in the collection over time. This one is maybe not so interesting because it goes from pretty much like 0.02 Ether straight to 69 ETH. But there are a few other examples where you might have a longer price history. I'm trying to think of maybe some of the Bored Apes ones, for example. If we drill down and we can look at maybe one of the guys, whoa, this one is 550. That's insane. Should we look at this one? Okay.
Well, that's like probably the gold for one.
Yeah, could be. Okay, well, maybe we pick another one. This one is like 119. Maybe pick one of these guys too. There's one for 48. And so you can see how the price has developed over time from the first mint, 0.08 to 119 for this guy. Similar here, 0.08 to doubling it, then 27 and 48. So yeah, if this answers the question.
Yeah. I think my thought on that is it is interesting to look at, and it's always kind of good to check out when it's been sold before. But in most cases, and I'm just talking about volume wise here, NFTs are less traded against their previous price and more traded against the floor. So like if you're trading floor chromie squiggles, for example, like you're not really trading it against itself. You're really trading it against the rest of the floor, and you're betting on the whole collection going up in value. And so, you know, if you buy a chromie squiggle at 5, it goes up to 15, and then it comes back down, or whatever. Like, I mean, if there's like price movements there, like it doesn't really matter where you bought yours. It's just where the rest of the floor is. But I don't think we actually cover parallel, do we? Is that?
Yeah, so parallel is, I think, ERC 1155. And this is one of the most requested features to support those collections. In fact, if you go to feature request, NFT dashboard support for ERC 1155, that's, yeah, this is one of the most requested features. And this is actively being worked on. It's one of the top priorities for the NFT team. So when we have support for that, we will also have support for parallel.
Yeah. Maybe that was an example of something that you can stake.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
All right. Will Nansen ever expand to include blockchains like Tezos, which has a robust NFT platform like Nunk? Or will we have to wait until it is as popular as Solana?
Yeah, so we are actively working on expanding to other blockchains. We have our own chain evaluator framework to decide which chains we want to have support for. And you know, the simple framework is basically cost benefit, right? So users wanting a specific blockchain, us recognizing the strategic importance of a blockchain adds to the benefit side of the equation. And then on the cost side, we have to look at the integration cost for us, the maintenance costs in terms of infrastructure. Some of these blockchains are very high throughput, which means they generate tons of data, and that's not necessarily very cheap to manage over time. So I can mention some of the chains that we are actively working on. If I can just bring up my chain evaluator table here in the background. So we already have support for Polygon. Binance Smart Chain is also partially rolled out, and we're going to be rolling out more dashboards for it. Ronin, which is Axie Infinity's chain, is also partially rolled out, more coming very soon. Phantom is coming very soon. And then a few L2s like Arbitrum and Optimism. And CeeLo is another chain that is going to come as well. We're speaking with the Avalanche team. I haven't been able to meet with them in person here yet in New York, but we've been sort of passing each other. But hopefully we can get something going there as well. And there are a few other chains like Terra. I met with Doa here in New York, the founder, and he's great. That's obviously a very fast-growing ecosystem. So Terra is one we want to look at, and also Solana that many people are asking for. But Solana and Terra are not EVM based, so it adds a lot of complexity to the integration. So that's why we probably won't have support for them, this month or next month, but maybe something like Q1. Q4 would be kind of like a very optimistic estimate, I think. But yes, those are some of the chains. So for Tezos, we haven't really had a lot of people ask for it yet, but I do know that there are some NFT developments there. So again, my suggestion would be to drop a note in the feedback.nansen.ai page. If many people want it, the upvotes will indicate that this is interesting to people, and we will prioritize it up accordingly.
SB asks, is there a way to see just Fidenza within art blocks? Unfortunately, this is something that we haven't split out yet. Art blocks is one that I'd love to split out ASAP, so you can actually see the individual collections. But right now, it's just art blocks as a whole. The two different contracts, one is for curated and one is for factory and playground, I believe. And then there is some like kind of confusing overlap because I think they rolled out one of the other contracts later on. So it's all a little jumbled, but we will parse those out at some point and have them individually listed because it makes total sense. I mean, each one of these collections, like Fidenza's, for example, has enough volume and interest to justify it having its own line item.
Yeah, I agree. So that's more like just it adds some complexity to how we work with the data. But yeah, that's true. Maybe we need to have like a dedicated art block section or something to break that down.
I would like that. All right. Were there any things on the notes that we should be covering?
Yeah. So let me just go back and look at the notes. Are there any other questions in the meantime? So we looked at Cupcat NFTs. We looked at crypto hobos on the NFT side. There was also a bit of fuzz around sushi because many people know that 0x Maki is basically stepping down as the lead and he's going to become an advisor. And we could have a look at sushi in token god mode to just see if there's been any interesting movements on sushi, perhaps as a result of what's been going on.
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting to look at because for a while now, people have been talking about how Shoyu will be a massive catalyst for sushi, and that's their way of capitalizing on the NFT boom. I think the domain for that is shoyunft.com. And so there's been some excitement there, but it's not been just smooth sailing for sushi for the past little while. They also had that miso hack for $3 million a little while back. I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but apparently they figured out who the hacker was and they sent him miso soup to their house.
Oh, wow.
To like indicate that they had, I don't know if that's an actual story or if that's just a rumor.
That's hilarious.
That is pretty funny. But yeah, let's dig in on sushi and see what's going on there.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like the price has been falling quite a bit against ETH at least in the last week. And so what's been going on? Well, we can look at notable wallets and see if we see something interesting. So looks like Arca has been receiving 500,000 sushi tokens.
That's quite a bit.
So I would probably look at this. Does it just mean that they unstaked their sushi, or like what actually happened there? So now I'm just drilling down on the Arca wallet here and maybe sort by time to look at the most recent transactions. Actually a lot of it came from Genesis Trading. So maybe that means that they scooped up some more sushi OTC
a couple days ago.
A few days ago. That's a pretty interesting one. So they're perhaps still bullish on sushi despite these changes. I think I actually saw a Twitter thread from Arca as well, where they were expressing bullishness about the sushi ecosystem, saying something to the effect of someone else from the community will step up. This is a decentralized community. It doesn't rely on one leader. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it looks like they're not just talking the talk, but also walking the walk.
Yeah. But so I actually was looking in on this recently, and I think I remember them buying more before and getting some from Genesis. I'd love to click in on the Genesis trading wallet and see if they've done any OTC deals with anyone else, any other wallets.
Oh yeah, that's a cool idea. So let's look at Genesis Trading. We can just drill down. Now I just hop back into the wallet profile for token for the Arca wallet. And then we can see if there's some other interesting sushi.
We got to talk into the mic here.
Sorry.
Just in case.
Yeah, maybe you can't hear me. I'll try to direct my voice towards the other mic. yeah, we can look at the Genesis Trading wallet where Arca received their sushi tokens and see maybe they've been sending sushi tokens to some other folks. So sorting here, you can see the Arca transaction here. Looks like there's another wallet that received 200,000, which you can also keep drilling down. I'm not sure how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go. There's also a few token millionaires. This is actually the same wallet, so maybe that's another one to look at.
But was that token millionaire from below?
Yeah, it looks like these are the same. It's actually the same one. This guy here.
Wow, this is a very crazy balance.
277,000 sushi. Not that much.
No, 277,000. Yeah, that's not that much, but like just the fluctuations in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But what is this? Maybe it's a market maker.
It could be a market maker or something like that. Yeah, yeah. This is one to look into more. SCP.
Yeah, I mean, like every day they're doing a ton of transactions.
Yeah. No, this 23% goes to SCP. Maybe it is actually an SCP controlled wallet.
There's also Wintermute there, outgoing.
Wintermute as well.
And Cumberland incoming. Actually, maybe it's Cumberland.
Maybe it is. Yeah. So this probably is an interesting wallet to look into. Maybe it's one of the big market makers for sushi. Medium dex trader, token millionaire, high balance, high activity. Okay. So, but I like your suggestion of like looking who Genesis Trading has actually been sending sushi tokens to from this wallet. And okay, this one seems to just go between different Genesis Trading wallets, right? These are actually two different wallets, 6D2 and D62. Okay, so maybe this one is actually 100% Genesis Trading. So this is probably also Genesis Trading, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably just like a buffer wallet, like something in between.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, maybe one to label. Cool. So there's some stuff you could dig into on the sushi side as well. I don't think we can go too far down the rabbit hole here, but another thing I noted was if you look at the top transactions, scrolling a bit faster. If you look at the top transactions, you can see 3 arrows sending to Binance, 2.3 million. And Defiance Capital, where 3 arrows is an LP or one of the co-owners, at least an LP. There's some transactions between these wallets as well. You see Alameda. This is just a kind of reconciliation where funds from the Binance Deposit wallet are being swept into the one of the Binance main wallets. But yeah, you can look at what some of the big guys have been doing with their sushi tokens here.
I would say just looking at, can you go back one?
Yeah.
I would say this XSushi, so SushiSwap token going to Defiance Capital, and then Defiance going to 3 arrows, and then 3 arrows going to Binance. That's quite interesting to me. And it feels, and I'm just looking at it here, I don't know exactly what happened, but it feels like it would be them unstaking their sushi and then possibly selling it.
Yeah, we cannot know for sure, of course.
Once it goes onto a centralized exchange.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, imagine they were going to sell the sushi that they had staked. This is probably what it would look like. So yeah, I guess you can draw your own conclusions. This was 5 days ago, so you can also try to match it up with any price movements in these last days.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the kind of insights you get, right? So you can actually understand a bit better, like what's happening and what are the big guys doing with their tokens under certain news and events that take place.
Sorry, I'm just looking back on the chat here. Yeah. So I think that covers it for
the sushi stuff.
Sushi.
I think there's a lot of stuff to dig into there, by the way. Like we are just scratching the surface, but definitely something that sushi holders or people who are interested in the sushi ecosystem could dive into on their own.
Yeah. There's also another thing you can do that kind of piggybacks off of this, where if you're looking at token movements during a certain time period, like let's say there was a big announcement on a certain day, like the day Maki announced his resignation, and you wanted to see like in the days leading up to that, what was the token movements like?
Yeah,
we have a dashboard called token movements.
Yeah, that's true. So we can go to diligence and then token movements. And actually you have to do the address. That's kind of annoying. Like we should replace this. So you can just punch in the symbol. But if you grab the sushi token here and we plug it in and we do a start date of like, when should we do this? Like a week ago or?
Yeah, maybe just like, this is just for example, but like 16th to 20th maybe.
Okay, yeah, can. Like this. Then this might take a little while, but it's going to show the balance changes in that specific time period and also the top transactions. I think this is one of the dashboards that people don't know about. So, but it's pretty good to understand narratives and yeah, as Daniel was saying, how different entities are reacting to certain news and events.
Even more, like if you were looking to check who was selling, I think what we saw there with Defiance is probably the most common action. Like someone would unstake their X sushi to get sushi and then sell it somewhere. So probably it might also be good to look at X sushi here in terms of token balance changes, because you would see those would be like just sellers, anyone who's unstaking.
Let's do that in the background as well. So X sushi, this one here, and then I'm just gonna literally copy the URL. Most of the dashboards in Nansen are like URL parameters, so you can sometimes move around a bit faster by just updating the URLs. But I'm just gonna let that load in the background where we're doing the same thing, looking at X sushi. But yeah, so in the balance changes, you won't see the change with sushi because you're just getting the X sushi, swapping it for sushi, and then sending the sushi to an exchange. So there's no net balance change for sushi, but you can still see this in the top transactions. So when you scroll down, you can see the Defiance capital that we just talked about going into 3 arrows. And
this is still sushi we're looking at, right?
Not this is sushi. This is sushi. But we can look at X sushi here. And so it's a safe proxy. I'm not sure which one that is. But yeah, you see Defiance basically, I guess, redeeming sushi tokens by burning X sushi. It's like 600,000 X sushi tokens and a few other ones as well.
Why did Leishan feels like a recognizable name there?
Yeah, I don't know who this is.
You
can drill down on it.
A whale of sorts.
I mean, it is definitely a whale. They have they had 1.4 million X sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is it's a really good dashboard actually to play around with and to understand what's happening. Yeah.
All right, let's continue along here. Anything else in our?
I just noticed. I mean, like there are 2 different Alameda wallets that increased their X sushi in this time period, which is interesting, I think. So maybe, not everyone's moving in the same direction.
Can you see the other?
Leifeng Crypto, Uniswap Sybil list. So it might be someone who is a governance participant in Uniswap.
Look pretty active.
Yeah. Another interesting wallet. They also have some NFTs. Okay. Cool.
Anything else?
Infinite amount of rabbit holes to go down. I think that's probably a good place to wrap up. Do we have any more questions in the chat? I don't think so, right?
Just this question, does Nansen work for EVM compatible chains like Avalanche?
Yes, we're rolling out support for many EVM compatible chains. We don't have all of them, of course, but currently we have support for obviously Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, Phantom is coming soon, Ronin is coming soon, and maybe Avalanche will come as well.
I think the only other thing to potentially cover real quick, since I don't know if we covered it last week, maybe we did, in Smart Alerts, we reskinned Smart Alerts.
Oh yeah, that's true. So you can go in here and you can create a new alert, and it looks a lot nicer now.
A lot nicer.
Yeah, it looks pretty smooth. There's still some work we need to do on Smart Alerts to make it even better and easier to use. For example, your Telegram ID should, of course, be saved. You have to input it every time now, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, these are some of the things that we're going to be improving. Probably we will set up its own dedicated Smart Alerts team at Nansen, so it gets the love it deserves. But yeah, definitely stay tuned for lots of updates to the Smart Alerts feature.
If you've never used Smart Alerts before, it's basically getting an alert to your Telegram, Discord, or Slack for any on-chain activity, whether it's large transactions or people staking or unstaking or things like that. So if you're monitoring a certain pool and you want to monitor even like either specific wallets in it or large token movements of that token, like let's say it's a new project that comes out and they just launched a new token, DYDX, for example, and you're like looking at the liquidity on it and you're unsure if there's enough liquidity to trade. DYDX isn't a great example because there's tons of liquidity, but on a smaller project, you can follow these things so that you don't get rug pulled if you're staking in the liquidity pool and you're not the last person out. But let us wrap up there. Anything else to add before we close out?
I think it's been fun doing our first office hours directly from New York City, from the Nansen headquarters well, not really the headquarters, the New York City headquarters here at Regis. Yeah.
Cool. It's been fun.
Definitely. Let's do this again.
We'll catch you guys next week, next Wednesday.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.